Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I am your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're going to have one heck of a veteran story. I'm looking forward to it. But if you are enjoying these podcasts, make sure you hit up the new website. That's the Lost Art Project veteransvoices.org. Again, the Lost Art Project veteransvoices.org. We are a new nonprofit. Super stoked about that. And anything you can do to help us be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, go check them out again. I'm telling you, I say it every single time. They are an amazing organization. Trust me, you've got to check it out. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
All right, here we are. Man, I got Janeen, Air Force veteran. Man, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, buddy?
Oh, man, I can't complain. You know, another day, another dollar, and I get to hear your story. So,
well, there you go. Yeah.
You can't complain about that, right?
No, that is true. It's always good connecting with your brothers and sisters, no matter what service they served in.
Absolutely. Well, heck, let's jump into it. Let's go back to the beginning for you. Like, where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about that. What was it like? And then what drew you to military service?
Well, grew up in California, born and raised, and had a tough childhood, you know, in some aspects, maybe not as tough as others, but definitely a place I wanted to escape.
Right.
And so the military for me was that option. It was a way that I could get away and still be able to make a living, get a career, and move forward on my own. So
right.
Join the Air Force Reserve first, because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but yet I knew I needed to get moving out of the house and kind of get rolling. And so did that. And was a medical administrator. So went in airman basic, you know, no nothing. And then once I was in it for a few years, I was stationed out of Travis because that was the closest base to me.
Okay.
And then was in it for a few years, and I thought, you know what, this is kind of cool. I'm kind of liking this. Let's go active duty.
Very nice. Okay.
So I went active duty, and you know those dream sheets. We all have them. It doesn't matter what service you're in. And that's why they call it a dream sheet, because you can dream. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to get any of it, but
they like you to dream. They don't like you to be happy. Big. They like you to dream.
Exactly. Well, you know, I was hoping, you know, I put all different kinds of craziness overseas, you know, whatever. I couldn't even get out of the state of California. And I'm like, really? You couldn't help a sister out here. You couldn't, like, you know, send me to the East Coast or something.
Yeah.
No. That couldn't happen. Man. So I went from Northern California to Southern California.
Okay.
And I went to a base that no longer exists, unfortunately. And it was George Air Force Base out in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
Oh, wow.
We were very close to our Marine Corps brothers and sisters, which was near 29 Palms.
Yeah.
And a little hellhole, a smaller base. It was a TAC base. And so that was, you know, the jets and the fighter squadrons and the, you know, all that stuff. And so remained in the medical administration at their hospital.
Okay.
And then I started kind of delving into the medical side. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. I might like this better than pushing papers.
Yeah.
And so I went and got my EMT, went and did a few things on that side of the house, started kind of delving into it. And my 4 years was coming up, and I did not have a good experience at George Air Force Base. When you're welcomed there, where you're in processing, which, you know, everybody gets at their own bases, you're welcomed with, you know, all of this stuff about the bases and the squadrons and the different things that are there. But you're also welcomed with, oh, and by the way, we have the highest Article 15 rate in the Air Force.
Oh, God.
And it's like, oh, well, that's lovely. You know,
Nice.
so you get that on that welcome wagon thing. And doing my time, trying to learn stuff, seeing what else I might be interested in and whatnot. And so, yeah, went out, got my EMT, started doing some things.
And you did the EMT through the Air Force?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. National Registry. That's, I mean, what the military does. Yeah. And at that time, civilians weren't doing National Registry.
Oh, okay.
It was only good in the Air Force or in the military.
Right.
And so from there, you know, time's going by. Yes, I'm making rank. I made sergeant while I was there at George Air Force Base. And time was coming up, doing my 4 years active duty time. It was either renew or get out.
Right.
And I'm leaning towards getting out because this place is a mess. We'd already heard that base was going to be closing. And I had a half a chance to get my butt out of there. I would have stayed in active duty. But we're all told, if you re-up, you're here until the base closes. And I'm like, peace out. I'm gone. Don't need this garbage. And so got out and went back into the reserve, Air Force Reserve.
Okay.
And then was reassigned back up to Travis. Well, once I got to Travis, I'm like, okay, medical administration's great, but I want something better. I want something that'll help me travel, learn more, something I can more so use on the outside.
Right.
And so they gave me an opportunity to become an AeroVac medic. And I'm like, sweet, I'll do that. And so they had to send me to medic school, which I'll tell you something, anyone who has gone through 2 or more tech schools that you have to go through, you know, for your training, man, it is so nice to go through as an NCO versus as a bootlicker, you know? And it was ironic. It was absolutely hilarious because when I went through medical administration, it was here in Texas where I'm at now, and it's actually only a couple hours away from where I'm at.
Okay.
And Shepherd Air Force Base was that base. And when I went to go get my medical technician training, it's back there at the same location.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like deja vu all over again, except I'm not having to march to class every day. I'm not having to do all this other stuff. And in the Air Force at the time, they phased you out because when you came out of basic training, which is always at Lackland, then you go to your tech school and you have to phase out to be able to get those benefits of being not the bootlicker anymore.
Oh,
so you go to, okay, so you get more and more privileges, and they have these phases that they used to phase you out in. Little by little, you kind of get back to being your own entity versus being a piece of equipment for the Air Force.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So people
think,
people think that the Air Force is like the chair force. And for a lot of ways, it's much more lax than some of the other services. But then there's other ways that they're not. So you phase out, you know, the first time I'm there, you finally get to be able to go out and stay out after, I think it was something like 8 or 9 p.m. You had to be back in your barracks during phase 1. And so got through all of that, went to Travis, and then decided to go to the AeroVac side, went back to Shepherd, and I'm able to drive my happy butt to class every day. I've got my own, dorm room, and I'm like, this is awesome. And so go through all the training, and basically the training at the time was a condensed version of getting your nursing license.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
6 months of training was like a 2-year nursing license. They packed all of that into it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So you might be able to do some nicer things and not be so mean and nasty during your training that some of the other services do to you.
Yeah.
But they hammer you on the technical side of things and what you have to learn.
Wow.
And so did that. Then with that, the training, you go from learning in the classroom, you now have to go do your oh shoot, I'm doing a brain fart.
Talking like practical application stuff?
You have to do your practicals.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing my practicals, they always try and send you typically back to the closest location to your regular base. And so that's when I went to McClellan, and the other base is closed too now. And I can't remember what it was, but Northern California, but not Travis. So I had to go do my clinicals, do all that. After I did my clinicals, then I had to go do my AeroVac training, and that was 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so that was down to Brooks Army, Center, Army base down in the San Antonio area. And that was doing, all the stuff about the plane, all the stuff about survival stuff, evacuation, all of that kind of stuff. It had nothing to do with medical. And got back, wasn't back too long before the first Gulf War kicked off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm, it was, I'd say maybe a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about all that training that I'd gotten, because I was still in California, I was able to take all of that training, get a couple letters on letterhead from the Air Force saying, yeah, I've been through all this training. I've got all this experience, hands-on, yada, yada, yada. I was able to challenge my LVN nursing board out of California with my training from the Air Force.
Wow.
Yeah. And so took the test, turned in all my stuff, took the test, passed. Still to this day, I have my LVN license, but unfortunately, even here in Texas, which is where that medical training was done, they don't accept it.
Really?
Yeah. There's only 1 or 2 states that accept this stuff. I don't know why. It seems ridiculous, but whatever. So
that's pretty wild.
Yeah. And so I was actually working a nursing job, civilian nursing job outside of the reserve. We would run missions for our unit. We were the 65th AES, so AeroVac Squadron. Mm-hmm. And we were the Trekkie Squadron. And they called us the Trek Squadron because our logo literally looked like the Star Trek logo that they would wear on their uniform, that arrow that kind of goes up at an angle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've got one of my patches right here.
Well, that's almost like the Space Force logo now, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And so, did all of that training. I got a phone call at work, and these are people that I know by first name. Mm-hmm. And when they call and they say, this is Tech Sergeant, blah, 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 I am letting you know today that you are being activated and you will report to the squadron with your bags packed on this date.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you're like, oh shit.
It all got real.
Yeah. And so, it was crazy. And so then you have to tell the job.
Yeah.
Then you have to go tell the family. And it, of course, the job's not happy because that was still before all of this protections were put in place for reservists. Right. This is back in the, 89-ish time frame. Mm-hmm. All those protections weren't really there. So, of course, then I start getting harassed by the job about all of this stuff, and got to get a letter from the Air Force. I'll get you my orders as soon as I get. I'm giving you, a precursor to that, just so you know as soon as I do.
Right. Yeah.
And so got them their letter. They still weren't happy, but whatever, I'm going. And so we get shipped out, and this is still during Desert Shield. Mm-hmm. So they're getting ready to deploy us out, obviously at the time, knowing things were about to get ugly.
Right.
And sure enough, we're in flight heading towards Riyadh, because that's where everybody landed at. Mm-hmm. Initially, when you're going, in country as a general rule. And all of a sudden, on a military plane, which if you've been on one, they ain't fancy. Not at all. So we're shipped from California to Dover on a 130.
Okay.
And these are the old 130s.
Yeah.
The new ones. So
long flight times.
Ooh, man, it was uncomfortable. But we get there to Dover, we get delayed because things start kicking off. Uh-huh. And so while we're out in Dover, it goes from Desert Shield to Desert Storm. Mm. And they've got to get us out there. So they just, we got delayed a little bit. I think we were there like maybe 2 weeks, living on cots in one of their NCO clubs or whatever. Yeah. And then we catch a plane, and we're heading over, and the missiles start flying. Yeah. And we got diverted from being able to fly into Saudi Arabia. We got diverted to Spain.
Oh, wow.
Because there was no way these planes were going to make it in. Uh-huh. So then we're stuck there, and they don't want to give us our bags, because if they give us our bags, then, it's a pain in the butt, whatever. So we're living on this little, bag that we have, that we take with us, a little, almost like a little carry-on. Mm-hmm. And a few days of doing that, they finally ship us out. We get in, and then we get greeted, not even on the ground, a couple hours, and we get greeted with a bombardment of Scud missiles and, whatnot. And it's like, abandoned ship, run, head for the bunkers. And so we were there for, I don't know, maybe 10 days. I can't remember, honestly, how long we were in Riyadh before they decided where we were all going to go. And so we all got split up into individual crews. And I got sent to northern Saudi Arabia, which is King Khalid military city. And that was the most northern base in Saudi Arabia that was just south of the Iraqi border. So, of course, we got a bunch of ugly stuff coming our way. Oh, yeah. And we would get the frontline troops into us by helicopter, by whatever, and we would transfer them over to our 141s, which is how we transported, and then would fly them out to Germany. And it just depended on what base we'd hit in Germany as to what location we would go to. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you would be on the flights going from Saudi Arabia to Germany? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then we did a lot of the medical care on our bases in Saudi Arabia because, I mean, we're still medical, even though our primary job is AeroVac. We would still do the medical.
So you'd be like at a first aid station or something of that nature?
Yeah. Yeah. We would do, whatever needed to be done. It's just one of those jobs that we did. And we had allied forces. And one of the things I always remember is, eating MREs after a while, they're just horrid after a while, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're nurses. And so we start schmoozing some of our allied forces. And we were like, hey, you must be tired of yours. I know we're tired of ours. How'd you like to swap some? And so we get, the French at the time had like sea rats. So all their stuff was in cans.
Right.
And so we would swap out and they'd love ours and we'd love theirs. And it was fabulous. And one of the things I remember is that with some of the allied forces, and I think France was one of them, is they were able to deploy with actual real chefs who would make things for them. Yeah. So they were getting a lot of fresh, homemade, gourmet kind of food and whatnot. And so we made such good friends with them. Plus they, if they got hurt or anything, they'd come and see us. The medical staff, they would bring us fresh, hot out of the oven French bread. And that's what we would eat. Yeah. And at any of the local stores that we could get to, we would get the closest thing to like cream cheese and jellies and peanut butter and some of those things that we would get, and we could use it with that bread. And so that part was a lot of was a nice pleasure to have.
Right.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we'd have people come visit. We did things like we made a sectional couch out of sandbags. You bet your butt. It's hard as a rock, but people could sit and talk and stuff. And we put one of the camo nets up so we'd have a sun break out in our quote unquote front yard, which is just a sand pit. It's not really a yard. We had our chemical chicken. I don't know other units that had any.
You're talking about out front or whatever in case of an attack.
We had several of them. We had one right next to our tent. Yeah. And we used to get her because we felt bad. It was a small little box thing that she was in, chicken coop kind of thing. And so we would tie a string to her leg, and we would let her out and we'd tether it to one of us.
Oh, nice.
And so she could kind of cruise around while we were out there. And if we had a fly swatter and we were killing flies and bugs, she started learning that if she heard that slap sound, she'd come running. Oh, and then all we'd have to do is turn the fly swatter towards her, and she'd eat the bugs. Huh. And it's like, well, there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
had her trained.
Absolutely. So flew a number of missions. One of the missions, I actually got injured when we got to Germany because they were busing us from the flight line to where we were going to stay, and it was snowing in Germany.
Okay.
And we'd gotten into a bus accident, and so they I don't know. I can't even remember. I don't know if I cracked some ribs or whatever.
Wow.
I got held back and had to stay an extra like 2 weeks in Germany while my crew went home, which home was back to Saudi Arabia, went back to our home base.
Holy
and
cow.
Yeah, so did that. Was able to do some radio communication back to the family while we were flying. And so we got some of the radio operators to patch me into my mom's work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, you know, it was nice for her to be able to know that I was okay.
Right. Yeah.
We got that opportunity, and it's like, make it quick, because, this could end at any minute.
Right.
And so, yeah. And so that was kind of cool too, is being able to let the family know that I was okay.
Wow.
But yeah, it was interesting time. I traveled more in the reserve than I ever did active duty.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think it'd be the opposite.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, in the reserve, I've been to Japan, Guam, Alaska. We stopped in at Spain. I don't really count that because I wasn't really stationed there.
Yeah.
Dover, but that was a layover too. But we did TDYs to a number of different locations, and George Air Force Base, I was stuck there the entire 4 years. So it was not, crazy. But yeah,
wow.
So, finally was just so tired, physically was so tired after we got back, because I'm working a full-time job. And instead of doing just the weekend a month, I had to do 2 weekends a month, because part of it was your admin side in the squadron. And I was the NCOIC for a certain section. But then I also had to fly to maintain my status. So that was a different weekend.
Wow.
So, I'm getting 4 days off a month.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a bit much. I mean,
yeah. And so, anyway, so that's, finally where I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I wasn't seeing any, good things coming out of it. It was just really the same stuff day and day. So I finally decided to go ahead and walk away. At that point too, if you were reserve, they did some funky calculation as to when your reserve time would count for your retirement.
Right.
It wasn't just you were in a year, so you got a year's time. You would get a fraction of that time. So I was going to have to do like 20 more years in a sense.
Geez.
To be able as a reservist to get my retirement. And I'm like, it's not worth it. And unfortunately, after I got out years later, they changed that, but it is what it is. So yeah, I did that, got out.
Now, how many years total was it that you were serving? So it was from
9
years total. Okay.
9 years total between reserve and active duty.
Yeah.
And so from there, I went into the medical field and then started working in different specialties, just doing, miscellaneous nursing work.
Right.
And I wanted to see about, obviously making more money and doing something a little different.
Right.
And so I went into correctional medicine.
Okay.
Yeah. Paid much better. And the nice thing about it too is if you had a patient that was just being ugly towards you, you didn't have to put that smile on your face and kiss their butt.
Right.
So it was like, you need to shut your pie hole because I'm not going to take this. You can either treat me like a human being and I'll treat you like a human being, or we can cut this chase, we can cut to the chase here and, I'll deal with you. And so that part of it was kind of nice. I didn't go out of my way to be mean to anyone, but when they decided to do that to me or just be ugly or stupid, all right, you don't know who I am and where I came from. So,
I'm sure there was some surprised looks on people's faces when when you started pushing back at them,
Oh yeah, because the typical nursing field is, you have to be nice to everyone, no matter what.
Right.
And it's like, I love to be nice, but there comes a limit. So, did that for a few years, ended up getting injured pretty bad. 3 knee surgeries later.
Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. In a 2-year time frame, I had 3 knee surgeries on the same knee.
Holy cow. Now, was that injured while you were doing the work at the correctional facility?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then they retired me.
Okay.
And from there, I was really fascinated and really intrigued with the law enforcement career field. But obviously I knew I was not going to be able to be that person that could run a 12-minute mile anymore.
Yeah.
Between the knee injury, I had injured my ankle in the Air Force multiple times by rolling it. There was just no way. So I went and decided to apply as a police officer for DOD, because that's kind of leaning back into my, into my family from the military.
Right.
And got that, did that for about 5 years. And
where was that at?
I was stationed up. I was stationed up in Washington State.
Okay.
And for that, and I was at Bremerton Navy base.
Yeah.
And so I found out very quickly that I was so very happy I chose the Air Force.
Yeah.
I was looking because the Navy is one of the next other technical services that you can get some really good training in that you can then take on the outside. I'm sure there is for the Army and Marines, but I just wasn't interested in either one of those.
Right.
And so when I was leaning on, do I do Navy or do I do Air Force? And I chose Air Force. Man, when I got up to Bremerton as a civilian cop, I was like, thank you, Jesus. This is a shithole.
Yeah.
And so they, unfortunately for the Navy troops, the Navy brass, it is very clear by how they set up their bases that their personnel are the lowest on the totem pole to consider.
Yeah.
And I realized the Air Force, it was the opposite, because there's all these different things we had on our Air Force bases. You've got not just a club, where everybody goes and drinks. Oh, hell, we've got 3 typically. You have the Airmen's Club, the NCO Club, and the Officers Club.
Right.
And then you've got MWR, and then you've got the golf course, And then you've got all these other things like the auto hobby shop and all these things that are on the Air Force bases that you get to use to, do things outside of the job.
Right.
You go to a Navy base? Yeah, no. They give you a basic, the infamous liquor stores that we always had.
Right. Yeah.
Navy has it. Huh?
I said you got to have those. I mean,
oh yeah,
can't go without that.
The Navy has a laundromat. See, Air Force, ours were at our barracks.
Yeah.
The Navy, they had a laundromat.
So they had to drive to it and do their laundry, drive back type of deal. Yeah.
I mean, and they may have had them in their barracks too, but they didn't. They had a bar. It was the one up there anyway. Was oh shoot, what was it? I think it was a John Adams bar.
Okay.
After the beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they had a few things. I mean, yeah, they've got the commissary, they've got the BX, they've got stuff like that, but they didn't have any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and it was interesting that everybody was very, I don't know if it was solemn, unhappy, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was strange how it was very different. And I couldn't imagine having to, what did they have? Like 5 different uniforms?
Oh,
something
Navy,
crazy. They've got the whites,
the
beiges, they've got like their BDUs. They've got the jumpsuit. They've got like all these different uniforms.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
Oh yeah.
We had
for sure.
2. Well, I take that back. We had a Class A, a Class B, and our BDUs. That was it.
Yeah.
And Class A, you wore once in a blue moon. So, but yeah, so dealing with those guys was definitely interesting. And there was a number of issues when it came to the active duty military, much less on the housing, the housing bases. Because those housing, if it wasn't the barracks and the officers' homes on the actual main base, there was outside communities on their own base, their own secured area.
Oh, I see.
For housing of the enlisted. And so that was interesting. A lot of things that I learned while I was there, but even after, because of the things you witness there, the things you start to experience, you start learning a little bit more about it. And, going more into the law enforcement career field after that, I didn't realize that, because I didn't put the numbers together at the time, is the crime rate went up 30% when an aircraft carrier came into port.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, that was crazy. Probably for some mental health reasons. I mean, look at what they're having to, go through. But domestics and, all this kind of stuff were going on. And knowing that your spouse wasn't going to be able to show up at home, we had different things going on at home that were extracurricular activities that we had to deal with.
Yeah.
And then God forbid, when things, when the aircraft carrier came in, that just caused even more issues. So anyway, a lot of secondary issues from your military service
Right.
were happening, and it was interesting, to say the least.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And some of those things you learn about, unfortunately, how I know this is kind of going down a rabbit hole, but some of our officers were living in that housing community because they were former Navy or whatnot. They were retired, and so they were allowed to live in those. And I started learning different things, like the houses that were built in that neighborhood. I mean, we're in the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with the colder version of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the contractor that was contracted to build all of those homes built those homes, and something happened, and the homes that were supposed to be up there were supposed to be highly insulated, for the cold and all these things. Right. And then some other base that would be down maybe here in the south central part of the country would probably have something maybe a little bit different because you're dealing more with heat than cold. Well, I guess they flipped it. And so all the homes up there in that base didn't have enough insulation.
Wow.
And just so many, infamous things that I think those of us that have been in the military, that's commonplace. We see that happen.
Yeah. It's
often.
true. Yeah.
So, anyway, so did that for about 5 years and just decided, okay, so this is not going anywhere. I want something else. And I decided to get more into the civilian law enforcement side, where it's away from the government, just local, county, whatnot. Right. And moved here to Texas, dealing with issues with mom and her health, trying to deal with that. And unfortunately, I figured I'd have an easy time finding a job when I got here. I've got a law enforcement background. I've also got a nursing license. There ought to be a place for me. No. Texas didn't acknowledge my law enforcement training.
Right.
And they didn't acknowledge my nursing license because I didn't get it in a brick and mortar.
Wow.
And so yeah, I since had to start all over again here in Texas. So yeah, it was interesting. Picked some law enforcement training that I didn't have to worry about running a mile and a half. Is that the lazy side of me? No, because I physically couldn't.
Right.
There was no way, if I was in a different place in my life and I hadn't gone through all the things that I had gone through, no problem. I easily could have done that. But there was the chance of me doing it. There was an opportunity for me to do it without having to run that mile and a half. And I took it.
Yeah. And so, Nan, specifically, what was it that you went into?
I became an actual state police officer, not for the state of Texas, but here in the state of Texas. And I went through the police academy, and there was no running test, timed test,
right? Yeah.
or anything. And majority of my time, I've only done reserve, only because I'm doing way too much otherwise. I've done some full-time work, and what I'm finding is the environment, and I think this is across the board for many veterans, the environment that you're finding in the first responder career field that you think is going to be very similar to your time in the military is not even close.
Really?
It is devastatingly toxic.
Wow.
They will eat their own. I have had different situations that I mean, you just can't even imagine that it's happening because it's, the sexual harassment, and that has nothing to do with sex. It's a power trip.
Yeah.
It's the, constantly harping on, constantly getting written up, constantly telling you, whatever. And then on the flip side, they're not trying to fix it either. So you get to learn very quickly. I know what this is. This is, a power trip, and I either leave now or, something bad's gonna happen. And so I worked for several different agencies trying to do right by myself and hopefully for the agency and the community. And unfortunately, there was a number of those agencies that it was very clear that they didn't appreciate the work that I did. And with some of the things that had gone on, whether or not you're talking during my military career to and through my law enforcement career, that really messes with your head.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I became so horribly physically ill. I finally had to choose myself.
Yeah.
And the struggle that individuals go through, and it's men and women that go through. I mean, I saw some in the military as well. In my day, going back to George Air Force Base real quick, the lovely disclaimer about the Article 15 raid, of course, caught me as well.
Okay.
And that is because while working, I was told by a supervisor that I had to do all of this overtime and, and all this stuff, extra work I had to do, which I was doing. But in the Air Force, similar to the corporate world, even though in a sense we're salary, it's not like you get overtime.
Right.
I didn't document it on my time card because we had time cards. And they filed an Article 15 on me for not doing what I told them, not doing what they told me to do in regards to working extra hours on this project. And it's like, just because it's not on my timesheet doesn't mean I didn't do it. I mean, what's the point? I'm not getting paid for this. And I didn't. I mean, so filed a congressional.
Yeah.
Won the congressional.
Oh, okay.
They never removed it to my knowledge. They never removed it off my record. But that supervisor, which I found out after the fact, this was not the first time he had done this, sexually harassed people, women under him.
Right.
But he was removed and sent to a remote in Turkey. So,
wow.
Yeah. So different things that had happened over the years, and some things continued when I got into law enforcement because it's that same mindset.
Right.
Very similar. And so, yeah. So being reserve law enforcement, I get to still do some of the work that I like to do. I've definitely, been a canine handler for many, many years, doing a multitude of disciplines. And then by doing that side of the house, I was able to start a nonprofit, which is what I do predominantly now, start the nonprofit, which is Canines for Freedom and Independence. And I started out doing handicapped service dogs for first responders, veterans that were suffering from post-traumatic stress. And that was great and everything, but I wanted to do more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's great that I'm helping an individual get their life back, but I wanted to do more. And there's a couple incidents that happened. I had a fantastic Marine that was one of my recipients. Great guy. His wife at the time did not know him before the military.
Okay.
She only met him after he had deployed and gone through everything that he had gone through. Mm-hmm. And so he got a dog through our program. He started becoming his old self, which is fantastic. It's great, right? You would think everybody would be happy about it. Not the wife.
Really?
Nope. And the ultimatum, the dog was abused and crated way too much. She didn't like the dog hair, you know, all these different little things, as he was telling me. And finally, she gave him an ultimatum. It's me or the dog. And he decided to take her over the dog. And I absolutely know what choice I would have made, but that's me. So with some of these experiences, I'm like, I gotta do something else. I want to help more. And so what I did, and I've designed it, it's a critical incident response team canine. They're not therapy dogs. They're not emotional support dogs. They are public safety canines that go to agencies to help within the agency with those that are suffering from post-traumatic stress. But they're also helping with those in the community that it could be a mental health issue. It could be PTS. It could be an assault victim that needs help being able to testify or be able to remember and have that brain engage while they're being interviewed by the investigator to get the facts so they can then prosecute an individual.
Wow.
It could be, you know, that it's just the community relations aspect as well. And then there's the bigger things that we do. And by we, I mean the agencies that have gotten dogs through my organization is the mass casualty situations that have happened and will happen. And they go on scene and they can assist those people, whether or not they're children or adults, go through that with somebody there in that time where you're being, in a sense, corralled in an area.
Right.
And that leaves you too much time in your head.
That makes sense.
So if we can bring down that cortisol level and raise the dopamine and the serotonin at the same time, then we're hopefully going to prevent that sudden drastic decision that some people decide to do. But then two, the likelihood, the studies are showing, the likelihood of it developing into PTS is much less because we're getting it from the onset.
Yeah.
So we're getting immediate interaction and we're interrupting, as I call it, it's almost like a movie script or a film that goes on in your head because you keep reliving it.
Yeah.
And if we can break that cycle of reliving, even if it's just for a couple minutes, we can break that ability of the brain to keep playing that, as well as the body reacting to it chemically, which is the cortisol, the dopamine, and the serotonin. Then we can prevent as bad of a reaction that they may have down the road because of no immediate intervention. there's a number of different things that they're starting to do that are more immediate. And we're doing this with the first responders. Number one, because first responders need it themselves.
Yeah.
But we've got an approximate amount of 30% of veterans that are also in the first responder field.
Mm-hmm.
And they go from one, to the other. So it's helping there as well. So we're helping those veterans and those other first responders. And hopefully when we're doing our peer support stuff, our debriefs, our defusings and things like that, we can interfere enough in a good way that we're not hopefully preventing that person from making that drastic decision.
Right.
And with that being said, it's that much more what's the word? Intense when you're bringing your veteran hat with you into the law enforcement realm and then going through something traumatic, because it's not just this event. If it brings up something that happened when you're in the military or a previous thing that you had that happened as a first responder to the forefront,
right,
you've now compounded this issue 3 times more.
Right.
Yeah, and so
I can see that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're trying to do this in a way that mitigates the liability on the individual handler, the agency, but then too with our program, because we have designed it, because I've been a canine handler for many years. There is an industry standard that we must meet. And unfortunately, there's a lot of agencies out there that are not. If I, as an individual, don't have the proper training to go into a situation like that, I can, by myself, make it 10 times worse because of something I say, something that I do, because I don't have that education to communicate to this person in a way to not escalate them. You're not there to fix them, but let's not make it worse. And so, but then too, the dog needs the proper training to go into these chaotic, crazy situations that these dogs are going to be used in. If it's an officer involved shooting, these dogs with their handler, they go on scene. They're not waiting until you show up at the office tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. That's too late. We need you.
That immediate response.
Exactly. We need you on scene at that time, because that is that time frame that you can really affect in a positive way what that person's going through. Because if you've ever been through an officer involved shooting, it's immediate where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just had to do that. And that remorse and that guilt. And then unfortunately, with the toxic environment that law enforcement and even fire has right now, it's, oh shit, am I going to prison?
Right.
Because your agency's going to throw you under the bus to protect their own selves. And so if you don't catch that immediately, the likelihood, especially now in the environment that we're living, is tenfold that they're going to do something extremely stupid. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that's a huge mistake. And when you have these situations that go on, we've got to try and be there now, not later.
Right.
And I don't understand why agencies have brought so much politics into the agency, because it doesn't have to be there. And it makes no sense that they're throwing their people under the bus, literally, if not figuratively, for a decision that as a human, I make mistakes daily.
Yeah.
As a human that is put into a situation like this, where you're expected to make a perfect decision 100% of the time, be extremely accurate in a completely imperfect situation, that there's too many variables. How does that work? How do you not make a mistake?
I mean, I think making a mistake is part of life in general.
Right.
Everyone is going to mess up. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And it makes no sense that we're being expected to be perfect in such an imperfect situation, career field, whatever.
Right.
And it just kills me when I see, it could be the biggest, most, linebacker size guy, and he had to deal with, let's say it's a death of a child. Maybe he's got a child that's that same age.
Yeah.
Maybe, something else has gone on in his life. Maybe he's already lost a child because of whatever. And when you start adding the cortisol levels into your brain, your brain shuts down. It's in fight or flight. So cognitive thinking, rational thinking, in-depth analyzing of a situation shuts off. You're reacting.
Oh, yeah.
And and I've had it happen to me, which is one of the reasons why I left my last full-time agency, is you get put into situations where you're in a lose-lose situation. And when you're under chronic stress because your agency has put you under a microscope, it will make you make more mistakes.
Yeah.
And then it's costing officers their lives. Because all you need is a fraction of a second to go, pause and go, if I do this, am I going to prison? Or if I do this, am I going to get written up? If I do this, am I going to get fired? And then I've got a family and, and then that movie goes off in your head. And they're like, well, I better not. And then they get shot and killed.
Yeah.
Or they get whatever. Because we're not being given the benefit of the doubt of, Kitty's like, I'm going to get involved in this, whether you like it or not.
Got real involved. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it.
It's crazy.
And so for whatever reason, I've stopped calling the upper chain leaders because they're not. There's very few that are actual leaders. They're administrators, they're politicians, they're admins.
Right.
They're not leaders. And a leader could easily decipher whether or not this mistake was made because you just didn't give a crap.
Right.
You were like, don't care, whatever, whatnot. Versus I did the best that I could in the situation I was in at the time and something went awry. That's completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. And they don't give you that benefit of the doubt. And then on top of it, they also don't look at themselves and go, what could I have done to assist this person to prevent this issue from happening in the first place?
Right.
how did we fail them?
Yeah. Did we set that person up for
Training.
success or failure?
Exactly. And so you're not getting that in these administrators because it's all about saving their political career.
Right.
So in a sense, these dogs that I'm training and are going out to agencies across the country, they're dealing, yes, with this mental health issue, but then that mental health issue has so many other parts and pieces to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a sense, just like in other career fields, there are ebbs and flows to your ability to recruit people to whatever, position that you're hiring for. Well, right now, what the admins have done to their own selves is they've, in a sense, slit their own wrists because the biggest recruitment that there used to be in the law enforcement career field, even, public safety and fire, is the children of. They've now lost that.
Yeah.
Because they get to live with a mom or dad coming home extremely angry, pissed off, don't mess with me, whatever that looks like. And it's like, oh no, if I get to come home like that, no thanks. Nope. No, thank you. As an administrator, they expect you to give up everything for the job. If it's on call, if it's pay, if it's this, if it's, whatever those things are. If I say jump, you need to say how high.
Right.
So now you're destroying the family life. The birthday parties, the holidays, the baseball games, the, whatever, vacations.
Right.
Because I'm expected to ... And it's not that they don't love their families, but for the most part, law enforcement is mostly men. And of those men, typically it's the more masculine men. And masculine men put the onus on them to be the person that brings in the money, that's responsible of taking care of their family. And
that's the provider.
Yes. And it's like, well, if I don't do this, will I lose my job? So they're making you pick. Do I be with my family, which is where I want to be? Or do I do the job? And then when I do the job, I'm pissed off because I can't be with my family, but I can't turn it off either, being pissed off. And then I'm just constantly angry and pissed off. And then it comes out on the family. Now, yes, it does happen to women as well, because most individuals in law enforcement, men and women, are very alpha.
Yeah, that's true.
And even on the female side, it does that same thing. And it helps us, and I don't mean that in a good way, it helps us forget the position that we should be in, which is I'm the female. And where's the softer side of us? Where is that empathy? Where is that nurturing? Where is that? And some of us lose our way. And that comes out also in the marriage. And so it causes so many dynamic issues in relationships, both at home and at work.
Yeah.
That is being caused by the administrators. Well, no wonder there's so many problems. And even when you are off the job, off the clock, mentally you're still on the clock, because those requirements of preparing for the next shift, or maybe it's doing dry fire, or maybe it's, putting this plan together in your head because you're going to be going out to serve a warrant the next day, or, whatever. Physically, you're at home. Mentally, you're not.
Right.
And you don't get that time to just be you. And you forget who you are after a while. And part of these dogs, they're not the end all. They're not the fix for all the problems. But what I'm starting to see is when an agency sees the importance of doing it correctly, which is by industry standard, by doing it to help our people, help our community, in a multitude of different ways, you're seeing these agency administrators that are finally seeing, even if it's just a fraction of it, they're seeing we got to change.
Right.
Because they are losing people like a sieve. And the problem in the first responder field, yes, fire as well, is we don't have a recruitment issue. We have a retention issue that's causing a recruitment issue. Same thing happened in the military, depending on who was in the White House.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm not joining the military right now. Hell no. I don't know what this crazy fool's going to make us do.
Yeah.
Or, send us into. So it's happening in the first responder fields as well. And they don't get that those small decisions that they see that they're making behind their desk in the ivory tower of their office that's, in a safe area that's air conditioned and heated and, whatever, has a snowball effect on everybody below them.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's such a huge issue that literally has snowballed into Snowmageddon in a sense, because you're not seeing your true people. You're seeing a shell of the person.
Right.
Because of what you're doing to them in some of these decisions that you're making. You're chasing people off because they're like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this garbage. They finally have to come to that decision. It's you or me. It's me time now. Thanks. Which is what I had to do. And then with that, it snowballs even more because now you're that many more people down as to your minimum level. Well, everyone who's left behind has to now do more overtime. Can't have vacation because we don't have the staffing. So that's that side of the vicious circle.
Yeah.
And then those people that leave, if they're ever asked, hey, I'm really trying to get into law enforcement, or, you go and do, whatever, you have a family friend, whatever, are asking you, and they're going to tell them, stay the hell away from this agency.
Yeah.
So then they can't recruit, but recruiting costs money. So the recruiting things that some of these agencies are doing, they're going across country and they're doing recruiting things 8 states over. Well, that costs a lot of money. And if you're having to do that, that's more money into recruiting. Okay. Well, now you're recruiting out of your own area, which you might get somebody to take you up on it because it's better than where they're at right now. But if you don't change your ways, it's going to end up the same way. And then during these recruiting events, they're like, hey, we have $10,000 bonus for signing on.
Right.
Why don't you pay that $10,000 to the person who stayed?
Yeah.
Versus the new kid that's coming on board. But then on top of it, another way that you're losing money is the experience that you're losing. Someone up and leaves and they've got 5, 10, whatever experience. You can't put a price on that.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing
Very
that.
much so. Yeah.
And the agency that I left, they made a sergeant. Get this. They made a sergeant from an individual who had 2 years of experience in law enforcement.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that was one of their boys. And they lost all of their experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Good
and
Lord.
I don't even know if that person still works there, but everybody was bailing.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that you see is on the money side of the house is your agency paying for the person to go to the academy? Are they paying them a salary while they go through? Are you paying for the academy? Are you outfitting them with uniforms and gear and whatnot for the academy?
Right.
If you have FTO trainers, are you paying them? You know, so there's all these things that are money, 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 money. If you would just take care of the people that you have, you wouldn't be using up all this money.
It's true.
On these other things. And so when I'm doing these dogs, these are things that I talk to these guys about. It's like, look, we have to take care of who we have because it's just going to get worse from here.
True.
And we're finding with these dogs that you'll get someone who will call the handler and say, hey, are you good? Are you going to be around today? I need me some, and then name the dog. I need me some, whatever, you know, Will time. Will is one of the canines. And they're like, well, yeah, I'll be back in the office in about an hour. Come on down. And they come on down. This is nobody that's been on your radar.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't an issue that happened at work that everybody knows about to keep an eye on somebody. This is a family issue that they're having or a financial issue that they're having on their personal side that is affecting work. Because stress is stress. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Very true. Yeah.
And it's going to affect your behavior, your memory, and the way you work. And so they were able to, you know, have those discussions. And it wasn't the fact that, well, come and talk to me and we'll help you take care of your problem. No, it's petting the dog where the cortisol starts coming down, the dopamine and the adrenaline and cortisol go down. Dopamine and serotonin are raising. And then that person just gets what we call spontaneous utterance, which is where you just start word vomiting all over the place. You just start talking.
Yeah.
And they start getting stuff out, which is another way of releasing that pressure, that steam. And then you can kind of interject yourself because you have special training for this as a human. You can interject yourself a little bit and go, hey, did I hear you right? There's some issues about whatever, XYZ or whatever. Well, you know, we actually have, you know, maybe it's a service, maybe it's a counselor, maybe it's, you know, there's many retreats out there now that are for veterans and first responders because you know what? Maybe you just need a brain dump. Maybe you just need to disconnect from everything.
Yeah.
And go.
Very
And
true.
who knows what that could be to that person. But if you as the human have the training, the dog has the proper training, you're not going to make it worse by saying something stupid or the dog biting that person because they're not used to dealing with all that adrenaline and cortisol. And so, you know, you can start that process of getting better. And so when we do this, you know, you have an agency that goes into it thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be great. We'll just do this and that. And, you know, some basic topics that they want to use the dog for. And then people find out that you have this dog that's specially trained, and you're getting requests up the wazoo about what they want you to come do. Hey, can you come to this meeting? Or, hey, can you come to this event? Or, hey, can you come to our school? Or, hey, and it's like, oh my gosh, they are completely overwhelmed because now people want you to come.
Right.
Versus on the most occasions, fire and law enforcement, they're coming on your worst day.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're asking you to come on a normal day that you can make better.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a flip of a script.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And now, when you're sending these dogs out, like how many agencies, I guess, are getting these dogs? I mean, is it quite a few, or?
It's quite a few. I mean, we're a small nonprofit. I think we've got about 30 dogs out across the country. And then 2 is if an agency has a dog that's in this similar type position, then we do allow them to come to our training, and we have a third-party certification body that will certify that dog.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As this. So it's not just a dog that comes from my program. It can be a dog coming that the agency already has doing this stuff. There's prerequisites. There's a certification test that you have to take. And it's lengthy. It's not just a matter of my dog knows obedience. We do scenario-based training. We have a written test for the handler. There's prerequisite training that you have to submit proof of. And the dog has prerequisites, can't be aggressive, can't be anything like that. Has to be spay and neutered, has to be a minimum of a year old to do the basic test. That's just the basic test. Now, from there, the testing process is it's a multiple day test. We do bits and pieces every day, and we're evaluating the dog and the human and as a team, how well they work together during that entire time frame. You could technically get, most all of this stuff done, but we can ask you to do some other things to make sure that your dog is going to work appropriately in these situations, which is why we do some of the scenario-based training. I want to see how your dog works when we bring in the emergency lights and sirens and the craziness and the yelling and the, whatever. How does your dog react in that? Because this is not therapy dog world. Therapy dog world is, you're inside a building, seeing a couple people, and it's environmentally controlled and calm. This is, you could have 30 people around. You could have 100 people around. You have all the chaos that's going on because let's say it's a mass casualty. So you've got people running and screaming and doing all this stuff. And this dog has to be that calm in the storm. And they go on scene. And because of being a first responder with certain criterias that are prerequisites, we can go and we can interact with the victims of, let's say it's a school shooting. We can interact with those children, with those adults that were there. And because we have the training and the certifications, we're not causing an issue in the actual case being prosecuted. You can't bring in an outsider because you don't know the training of the human. You don't know the training of the dog. And if there's no clearance for them to be there, to be able to hear some of this information, then that's actually a criminal violation. You can't bring in someone to hear and see certain information that's part of a case or a possible case that doesn't have the clearance to hear it and see it. It's, in the military, we have the secret, top secret, and it's, in a sense, it's that, but on the civilian side. And so, so there's all of that to deal with as well. And so They are doing amazing things. Our dogs actually do have, because there is no true certification yet for cortisol detection.
Mm-hmm.
We train the dogs on the cortisol, and it helps them identify the most highly stressed person that they have contact with.
Right.
And I've seen it happen time and time again. Multiple dogs will key in on certain people, and you'll see them hovering around or trying to interject with and interact with certain people, even in a crowd.
Wow.
And
that's just because they can sense the cortisol, or they can
sense the cortisol.
sniff
Dogs
it
are
up. I don't
masters
know
at
however
body
they do it.
language. Yeah. They're masters at body language. So when you take that innate behavior of being a master of body language, and then you give them this tool of being able to smell something, they can easily put those two things together and go, aha, this person needs me, because we teach them that.
Yeah.
And, so there's things like that we do. The training and stuff that we do at our seminars, I've actually had some individuals complain about some of the training that we've done, because they state things like, I'll never put my dog in this situation. Okay, but you're a cop, or, whatever. What if you're at a location and it comes to you?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it then?
Yeah.
And then there's other things like we did for an experiment, because it could be good for the individual human, but then for training of the dog, we did last year at Oklahoma City Police Department. They hosted our yearly training last year. We did a yoga class with your dog.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, because the dog needs to understand that down, stay means just that. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing, what position I'm in, if I'm laying down, if I'm standing, if I'm whatever yoga position I might be in.
Right.
But then too, if the person, the human, might find some enjoyment and find that this helps them release some of the stress that they're feeling, well, yay for everybody.
Yeah.
But of course, there were those that needed to complain about that. Whatever.
There's always going to be somebody to complain.
Oh, yeah. This year, what we're doing at this year's seminar, which is going to be in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, is we are doing a couple different things. We're doing one of my handlers that's been a handler now for about 5 years. He is doing the emergency extrication of your dog, because these dogs are not meant to engage. These are not patrol dogs. They are not to engage with a person that's being violent.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So he's going to teach that class for us, because you just never know. What if things turn sideways and you're already there with your dog?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do you get your dog out? Because, but then with that, we're also going to be doing defensive tactics with your dog. Because what if we do funerals? We've done full mock-up funerals where we've got honor guard, the casket, the bagpipes, the 21 gun salute, all of it. What happens when you get a pissed off family member, or somebody from the general public notices that there's a bunch of cops here and I want to take revenge?
Yeah.
What do you do then? So what we're doing is defensive tactics with your dog, how to get your dog to down and stay so you can go hands on. And then two, we are lucky enough to use, because of Bartlesville PD, I've got a really good connection with them. They have one of my dogs as well. Is they have a simulator. And we're going to be doing shoot, no shoot with your dog.
Oh, wow.
Because your dog's supposed to be in your subordinate hand. Your gun hand always has to be open.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're doing some of these things. These aren't therapy dogs. These dogs have to be able to go out in the world and work. They have to be able to do multiple settings. I don't care if it could be a hospital setting where you're going to visit the family member of an officer that was killed. We've had that happen.
Wow.
It could be a funeral. It could be, a school where you're just going in to visit and say hi to the kids. We've had those happen. Our dogs are identifying highly stressed kids. And then when they bring it up to the teacher, 2 of my dogs from Fort Worth PD did an event where they were with some younger kids, and they went to the teacher afterward and they said, hey, just so you know, both of our dogs are hovering around these 3 kids. They don't know who they are. They don't know these kids. And they brought it up to the teacher, and the teacher's like, and they look and see who they're talking about. Yeah, not surprised. This kid has, whatever going on. This kid has a really bad home life, and this kid has got, okay, that just confirms to us that our dogs are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And we've had different things where one of my guys, he's in Minnesota. Their police department has a mental health unit. So they have cops, and they have, I don't know if they're actual counselors or some sort of mental health professional with them. And he got called out to the scene of a young teenage girl that was going to commit suicide by running out into the freeway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they get on scene, and he's, talking to this person and doing that basic communication to try and figure out what's going on and build some rapport. And he's like, hey, and just to throw that brain off, he's like, do you like dogs? And she's like, well, yeah. Yep. You like Labradors? I don't know the specifics on their conversation, but, he's asking her if she likes dogs. Okay. Well, I've got my canine in my car, and he's actually really nice. He's a dog that you can pet. Would you like to see him? Well, yeah, that would be great. Whatever that conversation looked like. And the long story short of it was, if you promise to not run out on the road and you sit here and talk to me and we work this out, then I'll go get him and you can visit with him and we can just sit here and have a nice talk. Would that be okay? Well, yeah. Okay. So, whatever that whole conversation looked like, he went and got his dog, came out, and she starts petting him. She starts calming down. She starts talking about her issues, whatever that was. I mean, because obviously he's not going to give me all of that information. And the end of the story is she volunteered to go in for help, inpatient, as long as the dog went with her on the ride to get there.
Wow.
So we made that, he made that happen. And now you're not having to re-traumatize or even traumatize more a person that's fighting you, and you have to, take them down to the ground and throw them in handcuffs and throw them in the car, and do all this other stuff. Could that have still happened? Yes. You don't rule that out, but why not try?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And, so there's these different things that go on that these dogs can be used for. And you're not just thinking truly about traumatizing the person that you're trying to help. What about the traumatizing effect that it has on your officer of having to do this?
Yeah.
And these agencies just aren't taking into consideration what they're doing to these people, to their employees. And I'm not just talking the officers out on the road. Think about it. Dispatchers, huge, very important job.
Very stressful.
Very stressful. They only get to hear what's going on. They only get a fraction of the information, and then their brain tries to fill it in. What actually happened? What did he go through? What's going on? Blah, 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 whatever might be going on in their head. And then they don't get to find out the rest of the story. And then on top of it, let's say there was a debrief of that scene because it was pretty damn bad. A lot of times they don't get included.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. Hello. We're part of it. We're supposed to be one team, one fight, right? Hello. So yeah. And so we've got these dogs that are going all over the country that are doing different stuff. I collaborate with a ton of different, well, I wouldn't say a ton. I try to collaborate with a ton of other organizations because I don't do it all. I can't do it all. And I was blown away to find out how many other organizations, whether or not they did something similar or they did something completely different, that was like, nope, don't want to work with you. This,
really?
It's like, I want my flag on my mountain, and that's and that's where I'm staying.
Yeah.
And it's pathetically sad. It's not about you. It's supposed to be about who we're supposed to be helping. And if you cannot get past that, what are you good for?
Yeah.
We have organizations out there that are doing their version of a therapy dog, whatever they might call it. And they're going so they can take pictures to say, hey, look at what I did. Look at where I went and look at the people I helped. Well, this isn't about you, sweetheart. When these dogs go to these agencies, they're not going as me. They're going as their agency. And in lieu, sure. Can I say, yeah, that's one of our dogs? Sure. But again, too, I'm not out there, trying to raise money on somebody else's face and tragedy. And there's a ton of unprofessionals out there. And that's another thing that gets me is, I understand you need to fundraise, and yeah, I understand you need to, do different things, but that's not appropriate to be taking pictures of an actual victim. Do we take pictures at our training? Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We take pictures at our training. But I'm not there to take pictures of somebody's, tragedy.
Right.
It should be treated in the same way as our body cameras. It's confidential. If you get a warrant, you can get the video.
Yeah.
But no, we have organizations across the country that will self-deploy. There's even agencies that will self-deploy their dogs. And they think, well, I'm a cop, I can go. No, there's a certain, we know this, chain of command that you have to follow. There's a certain under FEMA, there's ICS or NIMS. Did you get invited by these guys? No, I don't care. I've heard stories from different organizations where it's like, oh yeah, my buddy is, an officer at a nearby agency, and he said it would be great if we came out. That's not a request, sweetheart. Sorry. I even had one admit that they showed up because of that kind of an invitation, a friend of that, when they went to an event that the governor of that state declared a state of an emergency, that he then applied for reimbursement for the funds that they spent for self-deploying to an event that they weren't invited to.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. And then these people don't even have all the appropriate training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, what other harm are you doing?
Yeah.
But they don't think of that because it's just about them.
Right.
So I've been working on this. My organization's been in existence since 2011.
Okay.
Started, got my official IRS and Texas nonprofit in 2012. And there was a couple years, where I did the handicapped service dogs, but then I went this direction and have been doing this ever since. And it's just growing like a weed.
Wow.
So
what's incredible. I think it's a fantastic idea, concept. I mean, I can only imagine all the good that it could do for people. I mean, it's truly amazing.
It's definitely showing itself to be very valuable. I will be going before. I've taught different classes at different professional organizations. I'm actually going to be presenting at the International Association of Chiefs of Police, their legal committee.
Wow. Okay.
Next month. And it's to talk about the legal issues and liabilities of not deploying correctly, or inviting in or allowing in those that invited themselves, some of those things. I'm teaching in Boston week after this. So not this coming week, but the week after. And then I'll be going next month. I'll be going before the Academy of Science Board, which is under the federal government. And they have a specific board that is all about public safety canines and how even some other things, but my specific branch is the public safety canines. And they put together what are the best practices, which basically is what to do to keep yourself out of legal trouble. So I've been following those recommendations from the get-go because of my background in canine. I just built it the same way, but for this specialty.
Right.
And so I'll be speaking hopefully to them next month at one of their meetings, and hopefully getting a more official status. I don't know what you want to call it, under them. So we would be the only one. I mean, we were the first in the nation to have a national third-party certification. I was the first one to have these types of dogs. There's been therapy dogs around for many, many years, but none doing what I've been doing in regards to the critical incident response. And these dogs can do everything from, therapy dog work to and through doing a mass casualty event on scene.
Right.
So I train them for worst case scenario, knowing that the rest of it is gravy. And so, so we do that, and it's working well. Agencies are definitely appreciating it, that when we give them a fully trained dog and we spend the time at their agency, because again, I don't want them coming away from their agency and causing someone else to have to fill in for them. I go to them. I take the dog to them, and I spend 5 full days one-on-one with the new handler working the dog. And so we do that because I'm not, yes, it's about my organization because of what we're doing, but I don't want this new, in a sense, tool to be seen as a burden to someone else because they've had to cover this person being gone.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then the agency's not putting out for per diem and travel and all of that kind of stuff. And we can go and we can do those introductions and we can visit everybody in their department and whomever else. I've gone before city council meetings and county council meetings to talk to them about what we're doing. This is what the dog is. This is, that kind of stuff while we're there. And I'm perfectly fine at doing doing all of that. And we are just trying to get out that information so they understand this is what this agency can now bring to the table.
Right.
We do a lot of work with, and what I mean by we is the dogs, a lot of work with child trafficking, human trafficking scenarios, and even, you know, the fire departments and some of the disasters that they're having to deal with on the fires, and a multitude of other things, special units and things like that. Because again, you might be going out to serve a warrant on a convicted felon, and, you know, whatever you've gone through can be something that is brought up from something that happened previous. So sometimes these dogs will even go on those kind of calls, even though they're not directly involved in serving of the warrant.
Right.
They can be there to assist when that is done. And now we're trying to get everyone calm again.
Yeah.
One of my colleagues, professional colleagues, she's become a friend of mine. She actually works for a federal agency. And she was in Minnesota during all of this garbage that just recently happened.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
And with her dog that does the same thing, but, and she certifies under us, but it's, you know, she had the dog previous, and she was giving me a little bit of information, not the specifics, but she's like, you got to try and set up a scenario for this because these guys aren't ready for it. You've got to set up what I went through. And in a sense, what she was telling me about is even though they were in unmarked vehicles, they had people surrounding the vehicle and trying to break into the vehicle. And she's in there with her dog. And this is not a narcotics dog. This is not a patrol dog. This is not, you know, this is a critical incident response team canine that she is trying to assist these other officers that are going through all of this. Keep some wits about them afterward because of everything that they had gone through. And not make that disastrous decision, because I'll tell you, I can't imagine. I mean, she doesn't tell me anything that happens in these, I mean, I'll call them get-togethers, but these debriefs that she does with them. But I mean, I can't even imagine what mentally they're going through because they're trying to do the job of a law that is in place, and you have a few of them being accused of being racist, whatever, or murderers. It's like, wait, what?
Wow.
And you can't rectify that. I mean, think about when the Vietnam veterans came back and they're being called baby killers. And it's like,
that's right.
You don't understand. They were sending kids with bombs strapped on them, in their stuff, whatever. They may not have even known that they had those bombs on them.
Yeah.
And they're sending them to kill us. And how screwed up it was for them when they knew what was about to happen and they had to shoot and kill that kid.
Yeah.
Or that woman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is going to mess with you. That is going to devastate you in what we know as an American individual that is in a civilized country. That's just not something you do.
Yeah. And it's tough, man. And to have something like you know, a canine to be able to come in and help in those situations is absolutely incredible.
It's I've gotten a lot of feedback on it. Some of it negative, but some of it very positive. And it's not that the dogs aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, it's that the agencies aren't doing right by their people. And that's the sad part is that even if we pair a dog with an agency and the agency doesn't believe in it, but they did it. I mean, honestly, I see some of these agencies, I don't think any of mine have, but across the board, I see some of these agencies that do it for their 5 minutes of fame on the 5 o'clock news. You know, they go get a dog and they're like, it's going to be our mascot. And it's like, really? Why? And so, and there's so many legalities to that anyway, that you're stepping into, and your ego won't allow you to step back and go, ooh, wait, I should rethink that. But that's an administrator for you.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah. So if somebody's out there, they want to learn more about this, anything like that, maybe they want to help you guys out in some way. How do they do that?
You can reach out to me, and my email is my first name, JANEEN at caninesforfreedom.org. So it's KNINESFORFREEDOM.org is my email. Phone number, call me. I don't care. Cell phone number is 360-471-1067. You can call me on the phone. If I don't answer, I'll get back to you. I might be in the middle of something. And then, check out the website. You can always send me messages. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I even have a TikTok account.
There you go. You got them all.
I've got too many, honestly, to keep up with. I have too many.
I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're staying busy, doing all the stuff that I can. I mean, I've got my retirement from the law enforcement realm because of my injury, and I just got bumped up to 70% for the VA.
Nice.
And I'm working on a few. There's still a few more things in the pipeline, so I'm hoping it's going to come up even more because, unfortunately, you know how it is as we get older. Yeah. Things start happening, and I am unfortunately having more health issues, and I know for a fact it's because of the military.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they don't want to admit it.
That's true.
But
you got to document everything for those that are still in. Go document everything.
Everything. Yes.
Doesn't matter how small it is, to go document it because it'll come back eventually.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So
all right. That's it. Man, it's been great having you on and learning all about this. I truly appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Anytime, if I can do anything, for anyone, if even if it's they're in my area and they're having a service dog issue, maybe they need a little help working on something, give me a call.
All right.
I'll do what I can either over the phone or if we can meet up. I'll try and do what I can. I don't do that as a normal everyday thing. That's not what our organization focuses on. But I mean, I can definitely give you some options of maybe things you can try. Who knows? I mean, I'm more than willing to try and help. Okay.
Awesome. Well, shoot. Anything else you want to cover down on before we kind of wrap this one up?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you so much for letting me kind of go off on a couple little tangents there, so I appreciate it.
It's all good. That's what we're here for. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I'll end this one the same way I always do. I always talk about veteran suicide and ways that they can get help. But for everybody out there, don't forget that VA does have some good resources. You can dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Janeen cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Janeen, one last time. Thank you very, very much for coming on. And don't hang up on me. Stay on even through the outro. I'll pull us back in. But to everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.